As we all know, Nigeria is called the most populous nation. That's to say we have the largest population in Africa. And that makes it difficult, to make sure the resources we have go round or be evenly distributed.
I'm talking about equity in Nigeria. We're talking about how the energy situation in Canada affects Nigeria. And personally, I'm talking about poverty, rural poverty, and sustainable development.
I think most Canadians are aware to some level of what's happening in the world, but they don't always understand how they're implicated and what they can do about that. For example, we all have shares in Canada Pension Plan, which in fact, in turn, is invested in a lot of oil companies and other companies that are perhaps doing some very destructive things around the world. Canadian investment overseas, where those Canadian companies are asking for export development credits or other kinds of Canadian financial assistance, they'll have to show that they're not actually impacting negatively on the environment and human rights. It's one way that at least Canadian money isn't being used to fund the violation of human rights and destruction of the environment elsewhere in the world. So I would encourage you to talk to your MP about supporting that bill, Bill C-300.
Think globally, act locally.
How would it be like if the peak oil theory is true, that oil will run out at a particular time in our lifetime? Formerly we used to think, well, we'll die before all these problems will occur, but funny enough, it's meeting us even in our lifetime. We can't run from it. We are the 7th largest producer of oil in the world. Actually, we used to be the 6th, but it has dropped because of the problems in the Niger Delta. Whenever there's a problem in that region, it affects the global oil price, and then, it causes a lot of problem in the global market.
We often think of many of these countries as being a very long distance away, but really the issues are very similar. The issues of extraction of natural resources, we have those issues right here in Canada as well.
Whatever oil has been extracted from wherever in the world goes into a global pool. If you ask me, it doesn't mean anything to me. Even if you are the #1 largest producer of oil in the world, what is the dividend? What am I enjoying in it?
There's a lot that has been taken out of Nigeria, by the oil companies, and there's so little or nothing actually going back to the places where the oil is actually found. We still have a lot of problem with poverty, and Nigeria ranks among the 20 poorest countries in the world. And 70% of Nigerian population, 140 million, live below $1 per day.
We have a lot of environmental problems, which ranges from pollution, ranges from violence as a result of oil extraction, to mention but a few.
We visited one community in the Niger Delta, and there was this big gas flaring pit.
Whenever you have environmental damage, by extension, you actually have human rights violations because people's lives and livelihoods are deeply affected by loss of environment, loss of being able to fish or farm, or even just live, the kind of health conditions that you have when you have that flaring going on all the time.
So the challenge is, what are you going to do? How is your lifestyle? How is your way of living affecting other people?
Whether you're in Nigeria or whether you're in Canada or wherever it is, those consequences can be grave and they impact all of us.
Nigeria's carbon emission accounts for about 16% of global carbon emission. So it means for whatever activities that's being carried out in Nigeria, it has an impact here in Canada.
Most Canadians actually enjoy most of their rights most of the time, but with that comes a responsibility to think about and act on behalf of or as allies with others who are not enjoying those rights.
I think it's necessary I come this far because the problem we are having is a global problem.
If you don't have access to energy, you don't have, you're completely cut out from everything. You can't do business, you can live sustainably.
If in those communities there is power, for instance, industries want to be sited there, then the people can be employed, roads can be created, water can be given, hospitals, health facilities can go into these communities. As much as possible, we need to live sustainably. We will try to live sustainably, but you also need to live sustainably. You know, if we preach this news, we believe it will spread faster than even wildfire.
I want them to have a global picture, to think beyond where they are, to think beyond their families, to become less egocentric and to move towards being world-centric.
We can actually narrow down the activities that happen, internationally to the local communities by involving the local policymakers.
If we don't look at the communities, we don't develop those communities, then there's no way we can eradicate poverty.
Basically, what we need to do as consumers is to change our consumption patterns. If the demand keeps increasing, there will be need to increase the supply, and so the pressure will be put on the oil in Nigeria. So that's why we believe that as we're here today, you, as much as possible, try to have a rethink on your consumption pattern. The young people are good, in disseminating information.
I know that you might be wondering in your mind, what's the connection between Nigeria and Canada? Not much, but there is a very vital connection because we all live under the same one sky.
If we want young people to be more engaged, more involved, we need to get out of their way and let them kind of explore what's possible. Get involved with some organizations, go to different events to hear different speakers, learn what they can, and use the means for learning that they want to learn, like the web and going to YouTube and finding some good videos on what's happening in the world.
If people can actually rise up, if the world can rise up, say, no, this is wrong, and we want things to be done correctly, I think that will go a long way.
So I think it's growing and there's hope, and there's need to really make these children stand to their feet to say, we deserve a good future, we deserve a sustainable future. Please don't use up all the energy. Leave some for us and our children unborn so that we can have a better life.